Doing? She's coloring the pictures, or
Huh?
what is Barbara doing? Coloring the pictures, or
Barbara does things like that. Not
Oh.
Barbara,
Asia?
Asia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So she's saving those pictures for Asia.
No, Asia. Yeah. She, she texts sis. She couldn't find her patients.
She couldn't find her patients.
No, she thought she's put them in the closet, and she's been looking and looking and looking. Her patients, it's not people patients. Well, that's what it is. But she words it as it's patients. She don't have no patience. So she sends some goofy things. And always, now you be sure and do this and you tell them nurses that's grandma. They gotta be good to her.
That's what Asia says to say.
Oh yeah, she does those things, and it just makes us laugh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She loves you, Asia does.
Mm-hmm.
Asia loves you. She's gotten to know you.
Oh yes, she used to. Now you be sure and put that gate up so grandma don't fall down that basement step.
Yeah.
And then the other one was, you be sure and tell grandma to blow her tea when you give her that hot tea. So, oh yeah, no, she's always reminding her. Well, I did pretty good with my walking.
Did ya? Where did they have you walk to today?
Oh, I was down in the room down there.
Uh-huh.
And I had a lot of walking to do, and then after my leg ached so bad, and I thought, oh boy, now I did too much.
Uh-huh.
But it was time for a pill again, for a pain pill, and that leg goes crazy when it's time for. I took it in a couple of minutes. It felt good.
I wonder if it's also got nerve pain in it.
Mm.
You said that leg goes crazy. I said I wonder if it's also got your pill also controls nerves.
No. Well, that's.
Is that part of it?
Both legs are bad.
Okay. Because my nerves in my legs are from restless legs. They kick like crazy, especially if I don't take my medicine.
And it's been like that for quite a while, but they said it's nerves, so.
Isn't that annoying? You can feel it right before it's going to kick. You can feel it, but you can't explain the feeling.
You can't keep it.
And you can't stop it.
You can't keep it still.
Yes.
It jerks.
Yes. You're trying to go to sleep, and all of a sudden it jerks. Yes.
And not only that, it can give you a hell of a pain. It can be a pain, but it's a worse pain at times. Oh, and sometimes I feel like jumping right out of bed. Now at home I would. Just get up and walk.
Just to get up and walk, right? I understand it because I have that.
But now that I had it operated on, I can't do that. So I don't know what I'm going to do yet. They keep asking me, am I planning on staying here? Or I said, well, I'm not. I'm planning on going home, but I ain't got a home.
Right.
I've got 5 of them, but I ain't got any.
Grandma, if it would work at my house, I would gladly have you. I really would. If I'm all by myself and I would have no one to watch while I was working, and I would be scared if you were to fall, I wouldn't be able to help you.
No,
I don't think I have that strength, but I would gladly put a bed downstairs and let you sleep right in the living room, and the bathroom's right there if I could.
Well, that's
If I could, Grandma, I would.
But
I would even put the dogs away so they weren't by you, but I'm just scared that I can't take, if I wasn't working and I was home all the time, I'm young enough I could do it. But I'm still working, and there's nobody but me.
Well, my sister will be going back in
Soon.
2 weeks.
Right.
So, and I've been at children. I've been at Babes now a couple of years.
It's been a while, yeah.
And it takes. They go, but they still worry about what I'm doing at home.
Or they have you go to someone else's.
Yeah. So,
and I know sometimes when you're here, it's easier to visit you because you're on town where I am.
Mm-hmm.
And also because sometimes, like say Easter.
Yeah.
Easter, sometimes if Aunt Sharon has a whole house full of her own kids and grandkids, sometimes you don't feel like intruding to say hi to you because she's got a big house full. Whereas if you were here, it's different. So there is some benefits to here. Oh, they got your food again. Do you want your meal on your table?
Well, that can be here. That can be under.
That can be under it, she's saying. And we'll move your chair.
That can be
No, we're
put over
fine.
here and,
I've been visiting while she's been eating.
well,
I
just
think it
look
kind
at
of helps, and I can
knocked off. That's,
move stuff closer if need be.
this
we
can go
got
in the
some-
garbage. That's from
Some No, I think they're mandarin what
my
does it say?
cupcake.
Mandarin oranges, it says today. Oh, barbecue rib sandwich looks good.
I ate
I'm not sure.
all my
What's that?
breakfast.
Sweet potato french fries, I think.
And I ate.
What it says? Yep.
Well, I didn't eat all my lunch,
Uh-huh.
but I did pretty good.
And it looks like you got tea this time instead of water. I think.
Feels like, yeah, it's cold water.
There's your peaches, and then you got some yummy coleslaw.
So I oh, something here.
That's not bad.
Right here, in here. If you want, do you like pudding?
Sure.
I think,
That's from your lunch.
yeah. I had too much, and I
Didn't want it thrown away.
it's
Well, there you go. I'll have it for supper tonight when I go to work.
so
Not much of a supper, but I had a pizza before I came here, a frozen pizza, so that'll be my dessert. That's why I was a little late, because I wanted to quickly eat something. Otherwise, I don't eat until I get home, and then it's midnight. And
but I hate to throw it away, and
right.
they bring too much. I do the best I can, but I thought maybe
I'll take that.
Lionel would come.
Well,
I know Lionel would take it,
I will tell him I stole his pudding on him. He had a chance.
but if you can eat it, you
I
take
will eat it. I won't waste it. But now, what do you need help for anything for your food?
I don't know what we got tonight.
Well, it looks like you got pork barbecue sandwich with some sweet potato fries, and some mandarin oranges, coleslaw, tea, and lemonade.
Well, it's all good, but it's just too much. I don't just care for these too much.
I'm not a sweet potato fan. I have some sweet potatoes at home from that Save America food truck. They gave me a lot of food. So much so that I think I'm going to have to bring some to my mom this weekend. 3 stalks of celery they gave me for one person. I'm the only person in my household. They gave me 3 stalks of celery. I thought I'm never going to eat that much celery. And they gave me a whole bunch of sweet potatoes, and I'm not a sweet potato fan. I might keep 1 or 2, but the rest I don't want. I like you. I don't want food to go to waste. So I may be giving my mom some food over the weekend.
Well, when I was home, I would make that sweet potato casserole.
Yeah, is that good?
That goes good.
Maybe I'll have to look at some recipes before I just give it away.
Oh, I know I've got them home.
Do ya?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's one thing you don't want home, as in does Doug have your recipes or?
I don't. I could remember it even.
Right.
So
Where happened to your recipes? Are they at where Doug is at?
who knows?
Don't know anymore? Okay. I know I copied down your app. Remember when you canned applesauce and I sat there that day and wrote everything down?
That what?
When you canned apples, your applesauce?
Oh.
I remember writing everything down as you did that. I've even tried to make it, but the apples at the store are not the same as the apples in your orchard.
That's
They
right.
just aren't. And I bought an apple tree a couple of years ago. I didn't buy it, actually. I
Stole the.
kind of. But not from a store. You know the old, past Solomon's, when you go to the end of that road and then you turn and then I think old, who used to own that? There's a Circle Drive when you go way back in the woods.
I don't know.
I can't think of who used to own it, but there used to be a house there. Do you know what I'm talking about? You go to the you go past Clarence Dietrich's farm and go straight, And then you hit Salmon's Horse Farm, where the that trail used to be. You used to talk about a trail there.
That must be down the straight road before you get to the one that turns back to our house into our river.
I think so, yeah. But anyways, when you get to the sawmill, and then you got their camp out in the woods where you have the old trail that you could take. I can't think of the name that you used to call it. If you turn the other way, there's always that big roundabout turnaround where there used to be a house. You know what I'm talking about? Where there used to be a house there long before I was around. Now it's just a big roundabout. Beautiful area of land. They used to have apple trees over there. Well, nobody lives there. So I found an apple tree that I said, well, maybe this is like Grandma's. Instead of buying them. And I dug it up because it was little. I planted it in my yard. But I get apples. But I don't know if it's because I'm so close to the alley or what. But usually they're just deer apples. They're not even good eating apples.
No, the apples, I guess, were beautiful this year.
Were they? I wonder what Doug does with them.
Huh?
Does Doug and Tom take them just to the deer?
Oh, the deer come and take them.
Oh.
That's what Sis said. Well, Doug was giving them away to whoever wanted them.
Oh my gosh, I wish I would have known that.
But there ain't too many left now.
No.
They're all falling. That's the first ones.
Do you want them before they fall? Maybe that's what I'm doing wrong all these years. Maybe that's what I've been doing wrong. Do you want the apples before they fall? Because my apples are still on the tree. Do I want to pick them before they fall off?
Well, if they fall off, you know they're ready.
Right.
But they're a bit bruised. But if you're going to peel them, that bruise don't hurt.
Right.
So,
I haven't been able to peel them. They're red and on the tree right now, though. Some have fallen. I said maybe that's my problem. Maybe I'm waiting too long.
well, we always had to have the transparency in by Dad's birthday.
Uh-huh.
Because when somebody came, that kid threw them around and had an apple fight. And
Oh, okay. So you always had them in by, the
So-
21st of August.
so, yeah, so by the 21st, we had them out.
Who used to have the apple fight? I don't remember that. I don't remember apple fights. Who used to have the apple fight?
The boys. That was always the boys.
Okay.
They would.
Doug and Tommy Doug and Bobby or
No,
Tom's
That was
friends?
before that. But
So
I mean,
Uncle Tom and his friends?
Yeah, it was when there was birthdays and that.
Okay.
If there was apples, that was a good thing. And then for years there was no apples.
Yeah, I remember that for a while too.
And now this year they said they were just lovely. I could just feel my hands itching.
Right. As I say, I wish I would have known. I would have grabbed some just to make an apple pie or some applesauce.
Oh, well, there might be
The
some.
only thing I can is applesauce. I canned jelly. I did canned jelly and I canned applesauce, but then I got rid of my canner and I never should have. I should have kept that.
I wonder what they did with my canner at home and all my jars and.
I wonder. I should have thought about the canner. I wonder if Doug still has that. I should call and ask him.
Well,
'Cause I don't think Tina cans.
It was in the basement, but where is it? There are no keepers or anything.
No.
So,
Someone may have took it too, but I don't think any else
I
cans.
wouldn't take it. Nobody wants to can.
I have canned,
I know, but
but it's not all the time. And it's now they're saying if we ever have food shortages, I may eventually stick to canning.
but
I think it lasts longer than in a metal can from the store, doesn't it?
well, this isn't a heavy aluminum one. It's just a big aluminum cooker,
Yeah, like a slow cooker.
and you have to, of course, have the rack in it so the jars don't break.
Does it pop up when it's ready? Like
No,
it does not one of those.
It's just a cooker.
Okay.
And but now Dutchies, I like them better than transparent.
Oh.
Transparent applesauce is nice and white.
Mm-hmm.
Dutchie is just a shade off, but the flavor is better. So
And see, you can't buy them at the store. I think the closest is Macintosh.
you can't. They don't go with the same names as we know. them
No.
by.
No. I've tried Macintosh. They're probably the sweetest at the
I know
store.
the applesauce you get in the store is tasteless.
Oh, it's compared to yours, yeah.
So,
I miss your applesauce. I have to say, Grandma,
Well,
I kept one until I probably still had one a year ago because I was very peculiar. I was waiting to open each one because I wanted to savor each one, so I waited a long time in between. But I had to finally open my last one last year, and it was still delicious, still just as good. And now I miss it. I'm gonna have to make myself some if I ever find the right apples.
No, all the well, Shelley's kids and well, all the little kids liked it.
They all loved your applesauce, right? But again, it's finding the right apples.
They used to call me Granny Applesauce.
Yeah.
And it wasn't only the kids, because I gave some to, one of Babe's kids, the one that works at the mine. That one.
Oh, that's one of Aunt Alice's. Uncle Tom and Aunt Carrie's daughters. Wasn't it Amy, whose husband worked at the mine?
Yeah.
I think that's who it was.
And
But I don't know if he does anymore.
I give it to the kids. They rationed it out, and then he took some to work he worked. I don't know who he worked with, but he gave the person a taste. Oh, where did you get that? What store?
Yeah.
Well, he didn't get it at a store. So the guy said, and he said, well, but Amy's grandma made that. Well, he said, that ain't the same grandma that does all the sewing, is it? Yeah, he says it is. Then he had a sewing machine, and he would like to make a trade with me. If I would make him applesauce, he would give me the sewing machine.
There you go.
Well, it never went through, but he liked it anyway. So Shelley's kids out in Minnesota, they hoard it. They open it. And each one gets a little helping.
That's what I did. I hoarded my last one too.
So, I just itch and twitch for canning.
I bet.
And
What all did you used to can?
And apple pies I made.
Oh, I know. I love your apple. John used to say that there was no apple pie that beat yours. That was his treat, was at Grandma's apple pies.
I know there was one, I don't know what it was, a holiday. We had it back at camp, and I made 15 pies.
Yeah.
And asked Bob what kind he wanted. Oh, he said, I want some of each. He's the size of that now. So you hear them say.
I remember your pies. I remember you bringing pies over. You'd have blueberry, you would have apple, you would have... You had them all.
I
Chocolate.
made every kind of pie I could think of.
Yeah.
And I canned everything I could, except corn. I never canned corn.
I was going to say, what did you can?
I froze it.
You froze the corn.
Yeah,
that beep is annoying.
I was always afraid of that poisoning if you didn't cook it enough in there.
Oh, for corn?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think you have to blanch it so long.
Yeah, and so that I never bothered with.
But what did you can then, besides apples?
Every vegetable. I canned potatoes. That was for my German potato salad.
Uh-huh.
And I even canned, it's a German dish. It's a cabbage, sweet and sour cabbage.
Oh, okay.
And peas and beans and anything. I can't, the only thing I can think of was I don't know why I should have canned corn. We had a lot of it.
Right.
But I was afraid of corn. But tomatoes and pickles of all kinds.
I remember your pickles. I do remember your pickles.
I made a lot of pickles.
I had some tomato plants this year I had in my backyard. I got quite a bit of them, but I didn't buy the nice big round ones at the store. I must have bought more of the grape kind.
Oh.
So I got a lot of small grape ones, and the bigger ones didn't get as big as they are in the store, but they got pretty big. I didn't get a lot. I only had 4 tomato plants, but I got enough for me. I mean, they're not enough I could have canned.
Yeah.
But it was my first year trying that.
Well, I would, in the later years, I would like to have had, I don't know what you call them. Some people just have a big old 5-gallon pail they plant things in,
That's what I've used
and
for my tomato plants was a 5-gallon pail.
and some have a kind of make a table, and
I've seen that in town.
that's what I said. That I could have taken
I
care
would
of.
have liked to. Yes, I've looked at the tables and I've seen them, and I said next year I think I want to plant. I want to make one of those tables in my yard
Yeah.
because I don't really want to dig up my grass, not in town, to make a garden. The 5-gallon pails did work pretty good for the tomato plants, but I wonder to myself if I would have got bigger tomatoes if they would have been able to branch farther.
Well,
The onions I kind of put in a not so much in a 5-gallon pail, but I put onions in like a big flower pot, and they weren't as big as the stores you see in them, but they still got a good size onion on them. So I'm wondering if what I'm using the way the roots go. No, I was scared of putting potatoes in a pail because they do have to spread.
and cucumbers and cabbage. It would almost be pretty hard to have in a garden like that.
Yes, it would.
But smaller stuff, later years, I would like to have just a little bit to monkey with.
Something, right.
And you could move a pail here, there, or wherever the sun,
Yes.
if you are strong.
Yeah.
And I know I made Larry and Marianne from Rapid River. They would come down, and
Larry Krause?
and sometimes they would just not call. They would just happen to pop in.
Right.
And I would have a pie in the freezer and stick it in the oven, and we could have that for lunch. She said she never used a transparent after that. She always looked for Dutchies.
Huh.
And she still talks about it. She said that was the best pie she ever ate.
Yes, John always said that.
So,
I haven't. That you made me think of the last name Krause again. I was looking at the old St. Paul's booklet they made for the 100 years. In 1905, I want to say, around there was someone confirmed by the name of Ferdinand Krause. Who is Ferdinand Krause? I've never heard that name before, but yet he was confirmed at St. Paul's. So it made me think maybe he was a relative. You've never heard of that name either?
never
Okay.
had that name.
I'm going to look him up. Because I thought, where's a Krause here? I don't know. And usually if the Krauses are at St. Paul's, they're related to us. This was a Ferdinand.
I never heard of that. I've heard of the name of Ferdinand, but it was I knew who it was.
Right.
It was a.
I don't know. This was early years. There's no picture, just the name. Do you remember Anna Leisner?
Who?
Anna Leisner, then she became Anna Gauss.
No.
She would have been older than Grandpa.
No.
That one didn't go to church? Okay.
No, but
She's got a grandchild that matches on my ancestry. But she must have had a baby that she gave up for adoption. So this is her grandchild from the boy she gave up for adoption, where they didn't know who the parents were. And of course, the boy had died. So the granddaughter was curious of who her dad's parents were. So she did a DNA test and found us.
no, there was a name can you just look up any name you?
As long as if they're deceased, yes. If they're alive, it's sometimes harder because of privacy.
Well, your Grandma Robinson, and the name bothered me a long time. Ma used to talk about a Vera Tupper,
Yeah.
and then Ma said she had a sister, Frances, who was a teacher,
Yeah, that's the family.
and ended up living by the Brookside Cemetery.
Right.
So all that matched in my mind. So one day I called your dad, and I asked him. Well, he said only the girls would be the ones who would remember things like
Yeah.
that, and there wasn't too much of them left.
If Vera was around that your mom would have remembered, that lady who was a teacher was Vera's aunt. They might have thought that was her mom.
Huh.
But she might have been visiting her aunt when she was a little girl and your mom would have met her.
Well,
Because that would have been
anyway,
her aunt.
I wondered if Ma happened to know Grandma Robinson years ago.
I bet you she did. If she talked about her, especially when her daughter went to the school where the Tupper aunt was her teacher, she very well could have met that lady's niece, Vera, when Vera was a little girl.
So
Very easily could have.
But your dad said he didn't know, and
Yeah.
he
I don't even think the girls would know, but it's very likely that may have happened because
I don't think
Vera grew up in Wasaki, which isn't that far from Abrams. Wasaki,
Wasaki or
Yes.
Pensaki.
Wasaki,
Mm.
which is by you hit Marinette and you go a little bit farther to the west, I think it is. But it's still in the same county. It's in the same county as Abrams is. So because they're all in the same county, she probably did go visit her aunt at times. And if she was visiting her aunt may have brought her to school.
Uh-huh.
Because,
So I don't know how they, or where they met, or how
Right.
they met, but she knew some. This
and
friend.
Vera would have been like 5 years younger than your mom.
Well, anyway, I hear these things, and like Grandpa there would be an adopted when he was a little boy, or some of his relatives
His
raised him.
aunt and uncle.
I remembered.
But I always wondered, and you probably don't know, he wasn't completely orphaned. His mom died
and
in childbirth when he was 2. And then the dad remarried. And then when he